Mm-hmm. Okay. Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Mimosa Hotline. I'm so excited for these calls. It's just kind of too much fun for myself. So we have Ronnie Bartless, your business strategist. You have myself, Ashely Rhoda, your brand strategist. And just to reiterate, this is Mimosa Hotline, where we come to you with live topics from our week, what we've been going through, client inspired things or life things or world things or whatever, really.
Yeah.
And we're excited to have you because guess what? Yet again, this is our second time going live from our new page. So if you're seeing this, you are in the Mimosa Hotline page and where you should be. We have the 32 prior episodes uploaded for you and your convenience to binge watch as much as you would like.
32? That's really optimistic.
What?
32? No, it's 25.
23. I was like, okay, I have dyslexia. Cool. Check. Yes.
That's all right.
Why don't you take over and say the smart stuff so I can see? It looks like we have a viewer though, which I'm very excited.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's me. But I'm going to just do a few clicks and see some things. So
yeah, no, we're so excited about doing this. And we're starting to get some momentum, which is always a lot of fun with people watching and asking us like what's going on. And so that's always fun. And I think, you and I have talked about this over the last couple of weeks. This is a nice creative outlet for both of us, because you are in a creative field, so it's not as much for you, but being kind of more on the analytics side of marketing and like the science side of it, like having something that's sort of a little bit of a creative outlet, it's always kind of nice because I don't do that every day in my work a lot of times. So it's nice to have that, like, because you can bottle it up very easily. And like, this is something I have done over the past 15 years. I've changed my logo probably 600 times. Because I get that creative spark. Nobody has seen it, but you get that creative spark, right? And I'm like, I just have to get it out. So I spend like 2 hours like redoing my logo and come to find out that like, I don't even use it. It's terrible, but I had to get the creativity out, know? Like,
no, I appreciate that. And, we are both right brain, left brain, analytical, creative, like, boss mode, learning student, like all the things. So absolutely. Yeah. So I'm eager for people to join on. I see we have one viewer. It would make me so happy, viewer. I don't know who you are, but if you would just put in the comments so I can see that all of the tech is like working, but if not, you stay anonymous and you do you. But So creativity. Yeah. I am very lucky. I do love that I was able to find work that allows my creative outlets. I mean, I should not do this, but I'm about to. I have like all my paints on my, you can't see it because of virtual back. Yes, you can. All my paints on my desk today because I've got a project I'm working on for a friend. Back shout out to the early days of Encoded Intuition, which was my hand painted clothing line. So I had to bring the paints out again. Somebody's getting something. And I'm excited about it. But yeah, I love how creative my days are, and I get really creative problems. I know that sounds funny, but creative problems like logo designs or website designs or self-presentation. Like it's fun that it is so creative. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm very numbers oriented, so I'm lucky to be able to be in a field that can cross between the two as well. But I tend to be like a little bit more on the number side than you are, because I love to sit and look at numbers and like figure out the story behind them.
Yeah. No, they're your art.
Yeah. But I mean, I still have that like artistic. So I don't know if you even know this, but when I started college, I was an art major. I wasn't even in business. I was an art major. And so
I don't think I knew that. That's amazing. Wow.
I was an art major. So I did, fundamentals of design and drawing. And, I used to be a really good drawer. I'm not anymore, but it's kind of like, how you have those skills and if you don't use them, you lose them. And drawing and French are the two things that I have not used and lose. But yeah, so I was an art major. So I do have like this creative side that I like to get at, even though I'm so numbers oriented. I do have that side that sometimes you like get that itch, and this project for us is kind of that way.
For sure.
For me.
For sure. We were talking about this too. Remind me, is it Big Magic by so-and-so?
Elizabeth Gilbert. Yeah.
Thank you. And how she talks about ideas coming to people. Do you want to share a little bit about that? Because it might be foggy for me, but like, do you know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about?
Yeah. No, we had this conversation just like day before yesterday
I
of,
think so. Yeah.
you know, like when we talk to people and they have these great ideas, but they're either stuck in a place that they don't know how to move it forward, or something else is bogging them down. And like Elizabeth Gilbert talks about this in Big Magic, of those creative ideas sometimes come in the door for you, but then also have to leave you to go to somebody else, you know? So like sometimes those ideas are not meant for you, even though you thought of them. And then sometimes, you know, I don't know if you do this, but there are times I see like products come up on like Instagram or something. I was like, I thought about that 5 years ago. That was my idea, but it was a creative idea that came to me, but then had to leave to go to somebody else to actually do it.
Yeah, absolutely, to like bring it into the world. And I love, because I don't know if I'm using the right analogy she uses, but in my head, we kind of got this either like Harry Potter like house elf vibe or like gnome status, but she kind of makes you think of ideas or creative ideas as like this little gnome that comes in. And if you're open and receptive and able to kind of, you know, welcome it in, you know, give it some tea, have it sit down, and you two like bring it to life and like get it into the world, it'll be there. Otherwise it's like, oh, no, tugging on your pant leg, not listening to it, like it'll just leave and it'll go to the next person. So yeah, I love that. The reason, I don't know why I brought that up.
Well, we were talking about what we have going on with Mimosa Island.
Thank you.
And the momentum we've got going with it. And kind of talking about where we're at. So I'm still working on a website. That's actually on my list this afternoon.
Well, it's our creative days though. That's the other thing, is like the next 2 days are like, do the work that you either were commissioned to or talked about during the week. And now it's our time. So that makes sense. You're not.
So that's on my list this week. So website's coming soon, but we've already got the page up.
Yep.
We've talked to so many people in the last couple of weeks to like help us with things and like kind of move some things forward.
And I love how bossy you all are. I'm going to call you out. Like, thank you for being like, so what's the next topic? Like, or being like, so aren't you guys going to be more structured, or are you going to have guests? Are you going to do this? Yes,
we've just got some things to do first.
It's like I planned all this, but we also love that so much. If there's topics you want to see us talk about or address as we're rolling everything out, we should also like kind of read you in on the fact that like April is kind of our deadline, our timeline, our whatever word you want to use, to get all of this in place and done for us and like up and running. So yes, that seems like it's crazy far away, but really it's 10 weeks out. Like actually that's all of April. I was thinking of our birthdays. It's actually less than that. So I'm not going to scream on camera yet, but
we got like 60 days.
Than that. But even like speakers and things, we put together a list, and we have more than a year's worth of people that we want to have on and people that we want to talk to. So we have these things. But again, the show is meant for all of us. You know, it's for Ronnie and I to do what we've always been doing on Sundays, but to share that with you, but also for you to tell us like, what are the topics that you want us to address? Do you want to come on as an expert? Do you want to have a BYOB with us? Bring your business to the show and let us, you know, love on it. Do you want to have a private BYOB? Like all the things. So we're busy and having just inspired fun with all of it. So
well, and it's I think to pull it back into a little bit of woo here, like we're out of Mercury retrograde. There are no planets in retrograde right now. So it should be hopefully this month full steam ahead that we can actually like get some of these things done and like move it forward.
And we're out of like the shadow phase of Mercury or whatever that's called, so that it's like, you know, the hangover of it all should be gone.
I mean, January was rough with Mercury retrograde, I think, for everybody.
It was a weird month even for me, because like, yes, I had moved here in November, but it was like, I got here, you know, middle of November, finished out the move with you guys, your help being here and everything. Then December's this like awkward holiday. Everybody's kind of on different wavelengths and things. And then plus it's Mercury retrograde, and it was weird. And then January comes and it's like, the first month of a new year. It's the start time. It's like a whole month that we can, I'm not moving. I don't have anything. It's like a focus time. Like, okay, I'm here now. I'm me now. Like, how do I do this? Like, where do I go? What am I doing? And you helped me do all of the market research, which turned into the 32 Zoom teas. Thank you, I think. And I learned so much from all of that. Like, I'm like, and now taking all of that research and those conversations, and we were able to build out Mimosa Hotline. I was able to figure out what are my services and capabilities and really streamline my business. And now I'm taking on more clients.
So while it felt like it was like a drag, a lot happened.
I know.
Well, and I think I wonder too, and I don't think that we're alone in this, couple of reasons. One, so yes, it felt like a drag of a month, but yet a lot of stuff got done. But yet I feel like people are measuring their success of the month based on dollars and not productivity. So like, if we really think about it.
Oh, I was a millionaire in productivity.
Right. So like maybe revenue didn't come in great for the month, but so much got done.
Totally. Yeah.
So like, how do we measure success in that regard? Like, and I think that as entrepreneurs, we measure success in dollars every single month because that's what the world tells us to do. Yeah. And in actuality, some months just aren't that way. Our success is in, okay, we streamlined our business. We did a bunch of marketing research. We looked at your services. We looked at your pricing. Like we like unpacked everything and then we had to pack it back in the suitcase.
Oh yeah. No, you did. I don't know what kind of surgery you did on my business. I would like to say it was genius, but I was like, is it a makeover? Is it a botched boob job she fixed? Like, I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, like my poor business was, I almost feel like it's that, skin removal surgery, like after they lose a ton of weight and then they have to like take off all the extra skin. It's like my poor business was so bloated with hustle culture and every coach's way of doing things and like should mania that it literally needed to just be like pumped like out, like just, oh my God. And we did. And now it's so streamlined. And you helped me simplify, which was the biggest thing, it's not necessarily easy, but simplified. Yeah. And what that looked like. And it's wild now to just even my little cue cards and how fast I'm moving and just the way that I have clarity of my own self. Like, even this morning, somebody, you remember the edits that we were looking at? One of the edits I didn't, as I went through intently and doing all of them, one of them was that she wanted one of the services. And it was like, want that one. And I was like, oh, lead, boom, like, get it,
While I'm thinking about it, we need to talk about that because I got that email.
My reply.
Yes.
I worked so hard on that. Well, at least I got
just copy and paste it and put it on ours. But I think you sent it to me.
Resend letter. Well, thank God it went to someone okay to get it. But you're like, what are you doing? Well, actually, how was the close? Did you like the pitch that I offered?
Yes, no, it was great. I thought,
casual and very.
Maybe she sent it to me to review. I wasn't quite sure. I actually meant to mention it before we got on this call, but hey, this is how we do business. So
yeah, this is what it really looks like behind the scenes, y'all. When I'm like ready, I'm all eager. I'm like, I'm ready to not sell or offer my services to somebody. And it goes to Ronnie.
It was great, by the way. Go ahead, copy, paste it over and send it.
You look good. Okay. That's so funny because maybe like subconsciously I wanted you to see what I had like replied back. And I mean, I didn't say anything crazy. My biggest thing was on the offer that I offered her. Like, I want to like,
yeah.
Maybe can we briefly touch on that? Because did I already talk about my hesitancy to sales and how I figured that out? And now I'm like, actually,
you have with me, forward. But yeah, okay. You have with me.
You want to really fast, and then we'll get into the like topic thing. Okay, so I want to call myself out because I'm kind of proud of myself. To be honest, I'm proud of myself. I worked through one of our blind spots, right? Like in business, we have blind spots, we have hesitations, we have subconscious programming, all the things. And sometimes they just pop up for you to just kind of and move through. And I'm semi embarrassed to say this, but I'm not, because of it's out of integrity. And I love that that was that was kind of the breakthrough. But here's the thing. Okay. So this might seem kind of silly, but I was struggling with sales, not in having leads, not in having opportunity, but like making the sale and asking people. And I felt like I had one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. Like I wanted to do sales. I knew what I was doing was good for people, but there was just this brake foot that I could not figure out. Like, what it really was. And what it came down to was shout out to Cassandra and Stacia for my brunch date that we had while you were off cheating with Jen. It's fine. It's fine.
No.
It's fine. Anyways, we had a great brunch. And the girls reflected back to me that they felt that there might be some like hesitancy to making sales based on my past experience, where I had felt pushed or shamed or guilted into buying things, or, you know, like I've made huge investments in real estate where it was like at one of those conferences, you know, all the lights doing now, run to the back of the room. And it's like, you wake up the next day and you're like, what the fuck did I just do? You know, or guilt or whatever there was. And I so don't want people to feel that way when they're working with me, that I literally wasn't making offers, because I really didn't want that. Well, after journaling with it, sitting with it, talking to you, talking to the girls about it, I realized that the difference between my sales, and I hope many of you can relate to this, the difference between my sales, my work, my offering you to work with me is integrity. You know, all these other offers, you get to that guru and the back end is shit. And you're like, how do they even run this level of a business with this level of shittery? Like, is shittery? It's like a shittery.
It is now.
Cool. It's oi, all of that on the back end. Or, you know, there's just inflation in their prices so they can have high ticket value and high ticket offer. And it's just not the way I do business. My prices are, you know, very reasonable, I think. And I know you do too, because you've helped me with them, but it's like, we have the hard cost. Sometimes it's like paying so-and-so to do this amount, and that's the hard cost. Or like there's the hard cost plus the time plus the value, but there's not this huge inflation. Like, I mean, we don't really have to quote sharpen the pencil on things, because it is where it is, because that's what it is. And it's not like, oh, how do I want to say that? There's just no fluff in it. And it is under market value. You know, I'm not saying names on this, but I know a corporation that offers basically a branding package for people that's like in the 100K range. And I do all of that in the 30, 35K range. It's so under market value, but it's still very valuable in what it's offering, you know, and it's not just trying to inflate it all and make it crazy. So anyways, my realization was just that I know the value that we have, it has integrity. I know when you work with me, I get results. They're basically guaranteed. I mean, yes, you have to do your portion and help me, but like I always get results, and people cry out of happiness over those results. So it's not like these other ones that have people not re-enlisting, not signing up again, or talking crap about their program. I don't have that problem. Like that is not my problem. So by sitting there and kind of doing this side by side of like, yeah, like I had to sit with the part of me that was hurt and shamed and kind of felt guilty about some of the actions she had taken, because those were not integrity offers versus mine. And it actually kind of released me of it. And now, like, even though it wasn't sent to the right person, I am more comfortable now in making my offers and you know, when I say offer, I mean that strategically too. It's not a sale. I'm not trying to sell you on shit. I'm trying to offer, can I help you with that in this way?
Yeah. It's an invitation.
Exactly. And even those like, what is it, synonyms or like other variations? Yeah.
Yeah.
It matters.
Yeah. Well, and two, I think also there is a difference between actually like selling a deliverable, like what you sell. While yes, it's kind of intangible, is an actual deliverable at the end of the day. Like it is a brand. Whereas, you know, lots of times people with coaching courses or programs, like it's kind of hard to measure that deliverable.
Yeah.
And I'm with you on this. Like I have been on both ends of the spectrum. I have been in a program that I spent tens of thousands of dollars on, and it was a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I got 3 months into it and I was like, I could have taught this better. Like,
yeah. And like tens of thousands of dollars for like basic business.
right.
Like,
and so I've been on that end. And then I've also been on the other end, and I'll like shout out Shauna on this to like go into her programs and like, you get your value out of that. Like,
absolutely.
It is well put together. She is excellent at what she does. She does what she's telling you she's gonna do, you know. So like I don't want people to think that they're all that way. Like
No.
I've seen both ends of it. And so I think that you and I both kind of look at what we do. And while, you know, yes, we do a lot of coaching and consulting with people when they come to us, we get this bad taste because there are so many of that like gurus out there that fall into the traditional dick funnel of shit. And we're all just like blindsided by it. So then we lose our trust in it. We lose our trust in other people to sell us good things, and our trust in ourselves to sell good things. And
I forget what my mannerism when I say like, "Ooh, that was a good thing," but "Ooh, that was a good thing."
Right. Well, and I mean
that I didn't even think of it that way too. And my word for 2023 is trust. Like, yes, it's the trust in others and it's the trust in ourselves. And I wrote down being a conscious CEO. I think as we are, and I think many people that would like watch our episodes and be a part of this is we're mindful, we're conscious CEOs. We're not money hungry. We're not money driven. Like, yes. Do we love money?
Yes,
oh, yeah. Love money. But I'm not trying, like, I don't know. I'm just not, I don't know. And even on that, I want to be like, there's like a level of crookery. Like some people get into this and they're just trying to make gobsmacks of money. And they don't even care who they blow through and how they do it. And like, again, that's the out of integrity side that we're talking about. But like for the conscious people, you know, it really does. It makes us hesitant to do or go out there, you know, and I think again, the perfectionism is kind of on that other side of things, and whatever it is that makes us hesitant. I think I was excited for myself because as a conscious CEO, it was a breakthrough moment where I was like, whew, glad I worked through that because now I can move forward. I guess just with inventory, like I do that. I'm very, like I always say, I'm responsibly irresponsible. I'm happy to do crazy shit, but I like to check in with myself before I do and be like, am I going in this okay? Like,
yeah. Well, and you know, it's interesting. This is totally not the topic that we were going to talk about. Well, we can loop it in, but I'm going to say that this is very interesting that you bring this up. Because when we first started talking, you and I, and doing Mimosa Hotline and like building our friendship, I remember talking to you and like, you were like, I close like 90% of the people I throw, you know, like get on a sales call with. And I was like, damn. And you did. But then you went into this program.
Call it out, girl, call it out.
Right. Well, and I mean, and we even talked about this program about it being a good idea to do.
Yeah. Wow.
And all of a sudden,
I couldn't do it.
You couldn't do it.
Huh. God, I love having you as a bestie that sees these things because like I didn't even think of that either yet.
Yeah, because I remember
no, I did. I was confident in it. Like I didn't have this integrity issue. Like I was making sales and I closed people because like I wasn't offering them things they didn't need. So like I wasn't making craziness. It wasn't like, you know, what's your conversion rate? Like it was 100% because I only offered things that they needed. It wasn't like, you know, 20% will, 50, 80% won't, whatever that thing's about. Like no. And then,
Yeah, it
oh
just,
God, you're right. And then as soon as I started that program, I didn't make a single thing. Well, not thing, but like offer. I got spooked.
well, and it goes to show how just one can shift how we sit in that mindset. It only took one. Interestingly
What?
enough,
Like
like
sales?
one
Oh,
person being on the
yeah.
opposite end of it. Like it took just that one
It's
sale
funny. Yeah,
that
I don't
shifted
know if
that.
that's my trust thing that I'm very quick to give away my authority and expect others to like know so much better than me. I don't know where that comes from, to be honest, or like, well, trauma, but details. I'm so overusing that term and being like, oh, I have issues. Like Hakuna Matata, we all do, like move on. But yeah, yeah, it does. It just takes one. And so many different things we've had this week, the edits making me think I was like, what the hell is going on with those? Like that person. Yeah, it's interesting. You
Yeah.
got to
Well,
really guard yourself, your mind, your authority, your conviction of self.
yeah. And like we're talking about this in like a very big sense of like making sales and running our businesses and revenues and like very tactical kinds of things like that. But we also do this in like I see this all the time in social media with people. Like they post something, they get one bad comment in the midst of 100 great comments, and you're derailed. Like all of a sudden you're derailed. You're like, and then you kind of swim back to the sea of sameness,
Yeah.
just like everybody else, because you're so afraid of that one troll out there that now you have put yourself back in the middle of the ocean of everybody being the same, and you're not as authentic as you should be. And and then things start to snowball from there because we've just derailed ourselves. Like it's the same concept, like with you in the thought process of sales and people that do it in social media. And like it's easy to do, and I think it's so sad that there are people out there that do it.
Yeah. Or unintentionally their existence makes it happen to you. It was almost, while you were speaking, I was kind of having this deja vu of like, what if we just acted not without consequence? I don't mean it like that, but like if we were just,
we turn off the comments.
Yeah, but I think it even goes past that, like even we just do things without worry or like influence or impact by what everybody else says. We're so quick to fall back to the like perfect mold or the standard mold or
what does everybody think?
One.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not also, I also think our baseline is misconfigured, like, and it's weird. It takes a lot of balls to be able to live as yourself in the world.
Yeah.
Doing it your own way. Like I was actually talking to the girls last night about the She-Hawk. They loved it, but I'm not going to lie. I still wake up every morning being like, is this too much? Did I push too far? But I've heard nothing negative about it. But at the same time, like I have that feel because I'm the one rocking it. I'm like, maybe I should just go back to the curls. Like it'll just be okay. It doesn't, nobody else on the planet gives a flying rat's ass about it. But for me, it's that thing. So whether it's a She-Hawk or a comment or a coach mentor that you think their way is so much better than yours, but God, yeah, I think about my business and like how much you were so nice to sit through that. Like, I don't even want to know how many hours, 2-3 hours of me just telling you what I was doing. And you were like,
oh yeah,
beautiful insanity. You were like, there's so much, but no wonder you're not able to move forward. You're trying to maintain all this. Like, we got to strip it all back. And like, I don't think I'm alone. I think so many people are in that boat. And what's scary is like, took me 5 minutes the other day in a total panic looking at my leads. And this is not to be like, if any one of us are going to work together, this means nothing. I'm just saying like, sometimes you need a perspective check, right? And I'm sitting on $30,000 of potential business. That's a problem. You need to be like, let's go. Like, but that's interesting when you just sit there and it's like, wow, looking at all that. So,
and as you're saying that, I've sort of had a little bit of an aha moment for myself of, so, when I work with my clients, or when I'm working on sales, for lack of a better term, I tend to go in with marketing, right? Like, because that's everybody's problem. But in actuality, I just kind of sat here and realized I've done it with you. And every single podcast interview I have done in the last 6 months, while I go into it, say, like with my marketing calculator and talking about marketing insights, which I like very strongly feel, every single one of those conversations has come back around to how to make your business simple. How do you make your marketing simple? How do you make your business simple? And maybe I need to change my platform here. Like maybe I'm poking at the wrong thing a little bit, but it's just interesting that
I would
thinking
honestly,
about it.
and while it's being recorded, I think you should, oh God, I use the S word, I'm sorry. But I would, let me just
encourage.
Yeah, I'm going to just speak freely because we don't do that on this show.
Right.
Okay. So, every time I think of you, I think of Simplified Success. And if we were to build a brand for you, I would call it Simplified Success. And the same way I just did my service and capability guide, I would almost give you that assignment and be like, hey, like build one of these for yourself. Like, what are the core services, right? I have my reviewed strategy, design, direction. You might have marketing, calendar, operations, like whatever. I don't know that we want to throw in bookkeeping, but like, it's a thing. You kind of can't help with all that.
I mean, I'm good at it.
Like the reporting side of things, and then have all the other capabilities. And what was wild for me was the clarity that gave me. And I first started with just a bullet point list. It was not how you see it, obviously, but like, it really helped me. And because it was that person, it was Priscilla, not to call you out, Priscilla, if you ever watch this, but Priscilla sitting with me being like, I didn't know you could help with that. And me being like,
right.
You're like close to my inner circle. That's unacceptable. People don't know I can help with that. And it's like, what?
Right.
And so out of that frustration, but I think that would be a huge platform.
Yeah.
Simplified Success, and then whatever the tagline would be, but it's just, like, loaded businesses, entrepreneurs, CEOs, and just pulling out all the fluff and just giving them the straight thing. And use me as
my business. Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, my business is that way. Like, you go on my website, I have 3 offers, like a course, intensive, and a coaching consulting retainer. Like, that's it. That's all I have.
But that's what's so crazy about all of these.
Right. But it's just interesting as we were talking about that. I'm like, you know what? Every single podcast interview I've done in the last 6 months every single one of them has come back around to how can we make this simple?
And I bet you probably have, without knowing it, because you just do it naturally, you probably have like a review system that, like, when you get a business, no matter what it is, or, you kind of get 2 things. You get a business and a CEO and you get those. And I think you probably kind of assess both of them, how distracted is the CEO, or where are their mindset blocks, whatever, like, what are they doing? Because they're kind of the gas into, or the driver behind the car, and the business is the car. And then you're probably also looking at that and analyzing it, which makes you the business strategist that you are. But I'm sure if you were to really sit down and just give yourself like a playful case study, I guess, and just be like, okay, here's one. What do I do? Like, oh shit, every time I do this and this, when I look at them, and just give yourself like 5 seconds to document your natural habit.
Yeah. So I guess it was, it must have been last week. So I was working with Jem, my business partner over at Concentric, and I was at another client while he was texting me about like work stuff for his business. So it was like this whole thing. And I tend to do that. Like my brain switches back and forth between clients all day long. Like, it just is a thing. I am not a multitasker. I can't do 2 things at once, but I can switch fairly quickly between things.
Compartmentalize.
Yeah. And so we were talking about like some ideas that he had and like things that need to happen in that business. And he was like, all right, I'll add it to the task list. And we use in our Google suite of platforms, the tasks and the calendar and like the whole like suite there. And he added these 2 tasks and assigned them to me. And I wanted to like freaking scream because I was all of a sudden so triggered because there are 100 of those things on that thing. And I felt so overwhelmed and I was like, I can't handle this. Like it's too complicated and bloated now. Like it made me want to like curl up in a ball under my desk.
Let's talk about my task list you helped me tame.
Yeah.
Mine was like a Tasmanian devil gone wild. Like it was everything. And I was trying to organize it, but I couldn't really figure out what the core of it was. And there's things that I need to do, like daily things that like on Mondays, these are things I want to do, but then oh my God, it was a clusterfuck on wild. Like honestly. And it was so nice of you. You just sat with me and you kind of like listened to the chaos of it. And then you were like, okay, I see this, I see that, I see this, just do this. And I was like, great. Okay, cool. And now I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay.
Yeah, it was.
I think this is your thing, Ronnie. I really do. I think the Simplified Success, because you have such a calming way about you, and you're okay. First, you've got a very calming nature. You're an impeccable listener. Like that is, I've never met someone that literally can make a skill of listening like sexy. You do. Like it is incredible how good you are as a listener. And then you're very organized and can just make complex simple, which I really love too. Like your approach to marketing, your approach to operations, your approach to like literally everything, even cooking. You make the really complex simple. Like and
I forgot about that lesson.
That was good. Thank you. I think there's something to that. And what's so hard is that our natural, these natural abilities, just how we are, we take for granted. We don't see it. We don't recognize it. So I love that you had this epiphany. I'm like, yes. Yeah. Like, what are the pillars of simplified success? It looks like right. And I kind of feel like though, there is two parts of it. Like there's the CEO that you work with, like Jim, myself, you've got another one, the one that you drive to, those guys.
Yeah, Marty and Rick and
there's a ton, but you've got like the CEO, the business, and then maybe the systems. I don't know if that would be the third part of it, but like there's And I'm excited. I can't wait. I will happily be a testimonial for you and what we've done since moving here. Like you said, go make a couple calls, Ashely. 32 later, piece of shit. Slammed for a month. Slammed.
I mean, you love me and hate me at the same time.
I do. I really do. Cause like that worked. Like oops. Like, I mean, other coaches and mentors have told me to do things, but never, ever has it like blown up like that. Like, yeah, that's why I get excited now that we're into the sales part, because if that works so well, like I'm almost, okay.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of that process of you have to start with research. Like you have to have data. And that's what I made you do. Like, and it wasn't even data as in like, oh, send out surveys to people. Like, no, like actually call people and talk to them about stuff. Like, this is how, so it almost is a twofold thing, right? Not only were you getting data from them as to what do they need and what do they want, right? Because we've said this before, even on this show, like meet people where they're at. Particularly coming into an economy that's like craziness right now. Like it's a freaking clusterfuck, but you're getting data points to meet them where they're at, but you're also starting a relationship, right? And that's the other thing we talk about all the time is connections and conversations. So like if you're kind of hitting it twofold. So now you've got data points and you've started this relationship that now you can kind of move it into that next piece of the funnel of, hey, here's what I offer. How can I help you in your business?
Well, and I would even add another thing that was huge for me was the inspiration from talking to them. So, there were two offers that came out of this. The one, wrongs made right. This is not a pitch. It was just literally hearing so many people talk about, oh, I worked with so-and-so, they did it wrong. I wish I could fix it and make it right. And it was like, literally like just like screaming at me, like, there it is, like, take it. And it was the wrongs made right that came out of it, the podcast branding that came out of it. And CEO perspectives, like helping with that element. And it's like, God, and it was wild, but yes, it is connecting with people. Yep. I got a lot of data, and I confirmed a lot of things that prior to this course I was doing, like, nope, that's still in alignment. Like, it was kind of like
validation.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's kind of like keep, donate, tailor. It's kind of like when we do wardrobe styling. It's what are we going to keep? What are we going to donate? And what do we just need to tailor down? I don't know why my stylist brain just kicked on for that, but that's what I did with all the services that I had. I was looking at it, and the 4 like main services I offer were very much inspired by the should and how you should have your business. And they're still very good. So I'm keeping them, but the capabilities now that's where people are going to come in and then get to. But I'm really excited about it. But I got a ton of research. I got a ton of connections and conversations. I know I'm circling back with people, as you saw today. That's what it looks like. So I almost feel like that's the best accountability I've ever done. Like, do what you do and unintentionally send it to your mentor. You're like, well, at least, proof. I've been doing it. Yeah. It's not just what, I'm, there it is. So, but so,
well, and back to the marketing research topic too. I've always found when I say marketing research to people, like you need marketing research, instantly people's brains go to like focus groups and data and surveys and like this very like structured way of doing it. And you have to like record it and you have to like analyze stuff. But in actuality, like what you did, it was more, you just had conversations. You didn't even probably like, you obviously wrote a ton of notes because that's what you do, but you just kind of made these like mental notes of, oh, that person said that. Oh, you know what? Somebody else said that too. Like, it's not this rigorous, like put it in a spreadsheet kind of data. It's that just internal knowledge now that you know of who your people are.
Well, and should we just really give it to him since we're talking about, I'll give you literally my cheat sheet. So I made this is just me, but I got excited. I have little cheat sheets. One is for a Zoom tea, one is for a client conversation, and one is my services and capabilities so I can remember them. And it's just in front of me. So I'm like looking at it and I'm like, oh, that matches with this. Okay, great. I'm not just off the cuff giving you the same signature offer to every single person because I'm a meow, 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 meow. Okay. But on my connection call, so if anybody's curious what I did, I'm a tea drinker. You could do a Zoom. I've heard it Zoom latte or Zoom tea. So if you drink coffee, you say, invite them to a Zoom latte. And if you drink tea, I made it up, Zoom tea. And I get on the call, and I do want to give some credit. This was a little bit too between both you and Shamika. You both offer these. So she does deserve a little bit of credit in this part, but it's basically you connect with the person genuinely, then you try and add value, and then you share what you do. But in my connection, it's very basic. It's like, tell me about you, your business, and what's new. I was curious, what's the vision for 2023? Because I was meeting them in the month of January. I would ask like how many years they'd been in business, because that's a signature for me to know, are you launching something or are you established in business? Curious about like, what were they offering? Because I wanted to know genuinely, like, I don't want like, so when Priscilla said like, oh, I didn't know you did that, I don't know what many people do. So I wanted to get more informed on what are they offering. So I had the most up-to-date information on them. And it also overlaps when I do my vendor vetting and how I vet vendors. I wanted to know, like, what are you offering? Is this still true? That kind of stuff, and price points. Because again, if I refer someone to you, or I'm curious, like what the cost of a client is, if your average cost of a client is $10,000, then we can talk bigger photographers. If it's less, then it's less, whatever. Then adding the value, I was asking, who's a good client or connection? what type of support do you need? So are you looking for a VA? Are you looking for a marketer? Are you looking for a whatever? And then how are things with your branding? So that would be like, how are things with your marketing? How are things with your flooring? How are like whatever your company does, like how is it? And I was just curious if they were working with anybody, they had, you know, issues going on, and then like how much had they invested, you know? And I never made an offer. I was just poking the bear, just curious what, and that was the main data point we were trying to do. So after connecting with them genuinely, I'd ask these things, just that was our market research for me to hear. And in the end, you know, they'd always ask me, what about you? Like, what are you offering? You know, and I tell them about my ideal client and my ideal project and what I was doing. And I'd also tell them very transparently my frustrations, my issues, what I was working on. And I was very pleasantly surprised to see that I'm not the only one.
Right. No, we're not. And I think we get tripped up with that. Well, and two, I think when people think about like having to do this, while you had a cheat sheet, you still let the conversation flow naturally.
Oh, like and that was the other thing I was going to say is I made notes because it was our assignment, if you will. I made notes at the end of the call of the key pieces that I picked up. And then I remember a few weeks when we were having our meetings, I would say like, okay, here are the takeaways from this week's Zoom teas. And I kind of hit the main points of things. And then at the end, it was like, you don't have to keeping track, Ashely, just give me the summary of it. And I was like, oh, okay. And then that's how we basically figured out everything. So
no, it
doesn't have to be. And I too, I was straight up what you explained. I thought it was going to be like focus groups and surveys and all that crazy crap. And honestly, I am still, because I'm still having them, your fault. I have 3 of them today. Thank you. Perfect example. Let's be in real time on a mimosa hotline. Okay. So just to give you guys examples, okay, so my next meeting is an architect that I met through a professional women's club of Chicago. The next one is a friend of mine that we do brunch, but I literally don't know what she does in her business. Like I do, but not enough. And I want to know more genuinely. I'm not market researching her, but I genuinely want to know. And then tonight is a realtor. Like it's all, you know, and they've been fun. Sometimes they're coffee dates, sometimes they're Zoom teas. I've been trying, because we got 32 of them, to just do Zoom because I don't have the time to get to every place and I can just do it. But yeah, that market research was absolutely impeccable. Now, one thing that has held me up is that there were a lot of leads that we got through all of this. And I feel like I've waited too long to follow up, which is not true. That's not true. And then phase 2 of this geniusness that you've had is client conversation. So that's the way I turn my sales calls.
Let's circle back to this.
Yeah, like exactly. And why don't you give them, because you simplify this so well, like what's your version of a sales call? It's not necessarily getting on with like a signature offer and offer the value and then the break it down and then the pain point, yada. Like,
I don't. I mean, for me, when somebody kind of like gets to that point with me, like they've already decided they're working with me. It's just figuring out exactly what we're going to do together. And then, so I think what I tend to do is, they've already kind of decided they're working with me. I get from them, okay, here are the top things we need to work on. And, you know, it goes through seasons. Lots of times, like I'll go through 6 months and everybody's like, oh, I want to work on website. You know, like it just depends. And we'll kind of like, what are the things that we're working on? And then I go, okay, I got my list. Let me go back. I'm going to email you within the next day or 2 with pricing on this and what it's going to cost to work with me on this. And then by the next week, I'm doing the job, and then we've moved on.
There you go. Yeah. And my transition is like when I've been on these when I've been on the Zoom teas, I keep integrity with them, which Shamika did teach us this. So I want to give her credit where credit is due. And I will say something like, they'll be like, well, how much is that? And I'll be like, you know what, out of integrity of this call, we were just supposed to connect. Would you be willing to set up a separate client conversation so I can ask some of the things like more detailed that I need to know, such as like exact deliverables, exact timeline, exact like challenges we might have. And I've booked 3 of those, you know, all 3 of them, but I had one Monday. And on that call, you know, that has a few questions that when they book through Calendly, they can kind of fill in for me in advance. But when I got on that call, she knew exactly what we were doing. So it was like, okay,
Right.
tell me, what are the things that I said? But I basically brought up, like, you mentioned you wanted this, this, and this. Tell me more about this one. Cause website,
Right.
that's so vague. I
Right.
love anyone watching. If you think a website is like a line item, you're wrong. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways. And so I asked about those things, and then I asked deadlines, deliverables, that kind of stuff,
Yep.
whatever. And then I took a second and I looked at, what is this going to take? What is this going to be? I did some math and I was like, okay, the value of this is looking like this. You're a fellow agency owner, so I want to give you a little discount. So here's that. And like, here's the price. What do you think? She's like, yeah. Is there a payment option? I was like, sure. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, it was over.
Yeah. I mean, it's normally like that simple. And I rarely give my price while we're on the call. I tend to say, let me go back through, kind of reevaluate my notes here, and I'll get you very simple, just like a 1-page like proposal sort of thing. And it's not even really that. It's just like, here's your objective. Here's what we've talked about we're going to do. And here's the price of it.
Yeah.
And, 1-page thing. But I tend to let them sit for a minute and then get it within like the next day to 2 days.
Yeah. Because they want it.
Right.
And it's not pushy. That's what I love. Yeah. Yeah. I guess we're doing that too this week with, you know who. My biggest thing was I needed another person. I needed a business coach involved in on this project, because they're not working with one. And I just think it's dangerous not to, if you are launching something new. And so my whole thing is like, I'm not intentionally sitting on it, but I kind of am. I had to talk to said person that I thought would be a perfect person for their dream team. And then when she agreed to the project, then I needed to sit with it again, just for my own, like, okay, we are going to do this, and how much of this, it's an interesting project, but how much of this are we going to do? And then, okay, great. So today or tomorrow, cause those are my days, like, this, but these are our days to like do the work that we've spoken of earlier this week.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to follow up, probably, I don't know, today looks like Swiss cheese. I kid you not, every other hour I've got something, every other hour. So it's like, we've talked about this too. We're like, an hour really isn't enough to do something.
Yeah, I know. I did it this morning too.
I mean, I was trying to do it this morning and I sent it to you. Shit. So like, point made. But for sure tomorrow, because I don't have any meetings, then I will definitely, follow up, make sure I'm not sending it to you. If I'm not careful tomorrow, you'll probably get about 5 proposals, because I got 5 to send out.
That's all right. I'll reply back and be like, wrong person. Looks great though.
Or like, looks great.
Send it on to them, please.
Yeah. Oh my God. I know that's cute, but also embarrassing.
And I totally called you out on a live show about it too. Great.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
No, but you know what? That's what this is for. It's like, okay, fine.
I mean, that's how we work.
But the market research was genius. It wasn't hard. It wasn't intimidating. I mean, for me, I don't mind getting on Zoom calls. Like, I don't mind talking to people. Like, I do genuinely like networking. So for somebody else that might be more introverted or scared about it, maybe it would be weird. But if you're also thinking like you're just calling them to like say hi, and you take out the whole like pressure of this being your income,
a sale,
freaking blows up. And then now I think, as I shared very honestly, there's people that I need to get back to, which, if it's meant to be, it's fine. It's like, okay, you figured your shit out, and they're getting better deals than they would have had I been on, doing it the old way. So now, I just want to offer, I want to circle back. This is what you've told me. You said, like, write an email that says, hey, wanted to circle back to something we talked about last month. You were looking for this, this, and this. Are you still interested? If so, let me know. Or not even.
Or let's talk
Are
about
you still
it.
interested? Right. And then period in that, and then take it as it goes, or hop on a call. Like, if you're still interested, I think that's the way I'm going to phrase it. I want to know if you're still interested in that. And then, like, here's a link to book a client conversation so that we can go through the details of that.
Right.
And then it's there.
I mean,
or let me know and I'll send over my calendar for a client conversation or something like that. Cause the thing that I think really worked for me with the Zoom teas was I didn't assume. I said, hey, if you want to jump on a Zoom tea, let me know and I'll send you my calendar. So they literally gave me permission. Like, I didn't just put it in there.
Opt in. Yeah. They totally opted in.
So I want to do that again, but in integrity of the client conversations. I want to be like, hey, circling back. I know we talked about this,
Right.
Did you finish it? Did you work with somebody else? Are you still
Well,
interested
and
in it?
that's a good point to bring up too. I know we're like getting close on our time and we're being very diligent now about only being an hour, but a good point to bring up is I think that people also get in this time crunch that they do this with their email list too, because you did it as well. Like, you're like, my email list is dead. And I was like, you haven't emailed them in a month. Like, it's not dead. That's like, had it been a year, maybe, but a month is like, so we get caught in our own head on timeframes of, oh, it's dead because it's been a week. When in actuality, like, people don't like, that's not how time.
They're living life too. Yeah.
Right. Like,
my
they
tip
might
that
not
I
have
keep
thought about
catching
you.
myself is like, I haven't even been here for 90 days. Chill.
Right.
Like, chill. And I'm thinking like, I need a life and just everything needs to be set up and perfect and done already. And it's like,
right.
No. And like you said, the Zoom teas, they've all happened with that in the last 30 days. So how late am I really? Like, and
there's no such thing as late. I mean, other than if I'm going to coffee and I like, or when I get on this call and I'm 5 minutes late, because I will always be late, by the way.
Okay, fair. I don't know. You did awesome today, though. You're fine.
I did do good today because you told me I had to be on 10 minutes early.
I was like, I'm gonna give you push-ups. I need you here. Like, let's go. Yeah, but also, what else was I gonna say to that too? Okay, so 90 days, 30 days for the Zoom teas, and then being like, oh, I got all 4 of my newsletters done, and they're going out today. That was weird though. Optimized time was 7 p.m. I was like, all right, I'll take it. MailChimp, whatever you want. But I was like, I don't know.
Weird.
So yeah, if everyone is like looking for their newsletter from me today, by the way, it comes out at like 7. I don't know what time. Time zone, meaning time zone. Yeah, but I was like 7. All right, whatever.
Okay.
I don't know, but I loved it. I had fun like revamping it a little bit. And even in that, there's a new one based on, can I help with that? I just thought that was a playful line, but like, can I help with that?
Yeah.
So I was like, can I have a bite of that? But yeah, that was a fun one. But those are activated again. And yeah, it's just weird to like the pressure we give ourselves, it's just like, and even Mimosa Hotline, like I think we're starting to get antsy because we're excited. People, hello. We have viewers. Hi, Kathleen. Kathleen has a question for Ronnie. What steps did you take when you were overwhelmed by your to-do list? I'm sorry if that's been there way longer than I thought, but
yeah. Okay. So not gonna probably like my answer, but I'm really bad about ignoring it. And if I haven't done a task within 3 to 4 weeks, it doesn't need to be done. I get rid of it. I mean, like, I'm seriously as simple as that. Like, if I have a task, like with Concentric, like we have this running task of like 100 things, and I keep missing deadlines because it's not a priority. And if it's not a priority for a month, then it doesn't need to be done.
Yeah.
And so
yeah,
I'll go through and I'll like clean it up and like just delete it and be like, we're not doing this. This is not the direction we're going now because things change. And so I will carve out some time to sit down and actually like go through them all and either rework that task to make it fit the direction now and what it actually needs to be a priority and get done, or just I delete it, period. Like it just goes away.
Sandra often said, do, delegate, ditch. So what are you going to do? What are you going to delegate? And what do you delete? My earlier saying was keep, donate, tailor if you want to be a stylist about it. Like, are you going to keep it? Or are you going to donate? Are you going to tailor it? So yeah.
Well, and two, I always look at my task list too. And I think we did this with you a little bit, was there were so many things on your task list that actually were a project.
Yeah.
And so,
I'm bad at that.
Right. And I think we all do this. Like we put a task on our list that's like
enhance website.
Yeah, exactly. Enhance website. And you're like, well, that's 400 things within that list. And you keep pushing it because it's a project, not actually a task.
Yeah.
And so we even did this, like we had to differentiate, like, Well, that needs to go over in the project spreadsheet of projects to like think about doing versus actual like tasks to get
and let's
done.
call this one out. Y'all, my wall, my office wall, you can't see me pointing. Like, it got so annoying that I just did the virtual background. So I hope you like it. But it's like that, sometimes you have to decide too, is this really worth, taking the time up this week to do this, or do you need to be focused somewhere else? And it's like, this is a good interim. We'll deal with that later when we have time or something else comes up. It's like, I think that idea ran out the door though. Like that idea came in so strong. It wanted to work with me. I wanted to work with it, but in the end, it just wasn't the right time. So it's down the hall doing somebody else's office background and they love it. Kathleen says, great ideas. Thank you. I love that. So I see 3 of you watching us, and hi, we love when you guys comment. So does anyone, before we hop off, I know we're like perfectly at our hour, but does anyone else have questions? Because this is the time to ask us. Please type in the chat. Anything that we talked about so far. This is your time.
Yeah. Oh, well, and we did not touch on the topic at all that we said.
I really wasn't even intending to like avoid it either. It just
no. I mean, this conversation flowed naturally as it was like, which is always why I'm second guess when we're like, let's figure out what topic. Let's have a topic and let's figure it out and like do that so that people know. And then we end up doing this, which is even better than what we planned on doing. And so like, why do we even try?
I don't know, because they want structure.
I know. Well, we'll save it for next week.
Yes, maybe we'll put it in our idea log and see what happens.
Which that's another thing,
you guys, like if you tasks or ideas or whatever, like Ronnie and I for the show, we actually have an idea log where there's things that we're like, oh, that would be a good episode, we should talk about that, and we put it in the idea log. And then sometimes we review it and we'll be like, oh, we either like there's a few we've already talked about and a few we're like, I don't want to talk about that, or like it's irrelevant or something. So even with your tasks, if you have like an archive, just archive the task for, maybe you don't want to delete it fully, but revisit it later, maybe that all of a sudden is not for the next 90 days and you want to just revisit it. Violetta. Hi, Violetta. Says, I jumped on too late. Love the background, Ashely. Oh, good. Thank you. So good. Good to have you on here. And you're not too late. Your time zone is crazy with ours, so you're fine. I don't even want to know what time it is for her right now. She's in Germany, and so
is she? I was going to ask where she was.
No, I just heard you. Violetta was like, I made you put a clock on your phone for me. So it is currently 7:01 p.m. So it's not super late, but it's still a thing. That's how you get amazing clients that show you how to put like world clocks on your phone. So you know exactly what time it is for them and you can see if it's appropriate to be messaging or not. So I love that. We've also been having fun. I'm like writing her things in my evening and it like for her to wake up to. And then when she writes it, it's like, good night. I hope you have a great day, because then it'll be my day when I get it back. It's been fun. But hello, everyone. It's good to have you here with us. So hi, Kathleen. Hi, Violetta. There was another one that sneaky ran away, but that's okay. So all the viewers, whether you watch this live or on the replay, please know these comments make us so happy. She puts like the sweat. It's so true. Comment in there. Live or on the replay, the comments. This sounds crazy, but we literally love if you comment on an episode after the fact. We're there to respond even then too. And if it's something that we feel like we can talk more to, then we'll bring it to the next episode and do that. So thank you for the questions, Kathleen. And thank you for the hellos, Violetta. Anyone else watching, that comment section is yours, so use it. Friendly reminders, every Thursday we go live here on this page. So if you finally found your way over here, you're in the right spot. We'll have show notes up for you. I think just so everybody knows, that's going to be part of the new membership. So we're going to be doing show notes probably through April. And then at that point, you won't get them just on the outside regular world. You'll have to step into the speakeasy. So fun.
That sounds
There's another
mysterious.
One.
That sounds mysterious. I love it.
I know, right? And it's like an invitation, like everybody's going to want to be in there. And the best part is, guys, it's like stupid affordable. I mean, we think it's stupid affordable, but this is like, stupid affordable. Like you're going to be fine. You're going to love us and it'll be an easy yes. So I see our third viewers back. It's kind of fun to see the number of eyes like up, down, up, down. You're like, oh, where'd you go? Did you take a bio break? Did you get a coffee? Like, where
is it somebody new? Like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing. It just tells me a number.
A number. Yeah.
Anyways, okay. Bye guys. We're going to be good about our timeline. And yeah, anything else? Last word?
Stay tuned for all the new stuff coming up, like as we do it.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
All right. Bye guys.